Hello and welcome to George Analyzes Things, the show where I'm George and I analyze things. Oh boy. What do we got today? What? Paper Jeffy! Paper Jeffy! Logan! This is obvious! This is completely obvious! Are you trying to get sued? What the fuck are you doing? Paper Jeffy! What? Logan, what? I mean, it's whatever. Nintendo's probably not going to care, to be honest. But anyways, without further ado, Paper Jeffy. 'Cause I guess Paper Marvin would get no views. Logan, I really don't fucking understand you sometimes. But since the thumbnail once again includes some rainbows and shows respect to all the gays out there, we'll start off today with 15 George points. Well, actually on second thought, the thumbnail includes a stolen fan-made Paper Mario logo, originally made by Twitter user Moonkeki, which was edited with AI to replace the word Mario with Jeffy. Wow, just wow, Mr. Rad. I thought you were much better than this. You know, I liked you. I wasn't even one of the guys that tried to cancel you for the Asian thing, because attractive people shouldn't be canceled. But now we got another crispy toast situation on our hands, because you decided to use a dirty clanker instead of simple Photoshop. Great. 5 of those George points will be removed. So this video begins with Jeffy playing with his, stick. Okay then. When Marvin quickly tells him to stop, Rose thanks him and says it was getting annoying. Yeah, like you're one to fucking talk, bitch. Have you heard your screeching, ear-shattering excuse of a fucking voice? You know what? For Rose's usual hypocrisy, I'm taking away the 10 other George points. Marvin tells Jeffy he can use the stick as long as it makes no noise, so Jeffy decides to use it as a magic wand, wishing the whole universe was made of fucking paper. And somehow it actually works. Because potatoes. So now everything looks like it's bootleg Paper Mario. Look, I want to like this art style, but something about this just looks off. As usual with these Nintendo animations, I can't seem to put my finger on it. It just looks kinda uncanny, and the horrible puppet designs certainly don't help at all. So there goes 10 George points. We now get another ol' something dick joke with Jeffy, which is just what Logan's videos need. More gross out! Which leaves me to dock 5 George points. Anyways, Marvin is quickly annoyed and doesn't want to be paper anymore. And for that, 10 George points will be added since, honestly, I agree. I wouldn't want to be a paper either, since whenever I'm straight up cranking my shit, I'll end up with a fuck ton of paper cuts, which would be quite the ouch if I say so myself. Marvin tells Jeffy to use his wand to turn everything back to normal, but Jeffy throws it and says it slipped akin to his 2016 self.
It slipped.
Logan, are you really going to bring back character traits from arguably the worst era of Jeffy? Like, are we dead ass right now? It seems like recently Jeffy has been slightly improved, and now he's regressing back to his insufferable 2016 self for some reason. You know what? 7 George points are now gone. Eventually, Marvin hears the doorbell, which Logan remembered to add this time, so here's an additional 4 George points. And it's Brooklyn Guy, who is wondering why he's now a paper, and assumes that someone in Marvin's house is behind this. Yeah, I feel that, Brookie. There's always some whack-ass shit going on in there. Marvin tells him that Jeffy used his stick to turn everything into paper, while also getting a bit of goofy shenanigans with the two, so that puts 8 more George points on the map. Brooklyn Guy wants to be changed back for a second, but quickly decides he wants to keep being a paper so he can fold himself into a boat. So he shortly folds himself into a boat, which got quite the giggle out of me. Eee, he looks so silly. 9 George points added for this. He eventually tells Marvin to put him in the bathtub so he can float around with his duckies. Honestly, that sounds like the fucking life, so 14 George points. Marvin returns to that bitch-ass red couch and asks if the wand has been found yet. Which it hasn't, since Jeffy only found cat shit, cat throw-up, and a booger. Which is... more gross out! Logan, how many fucking times do we have to tell you? No one likes this damn gross out. Not a single soul on this godforsaken planet. There's 11 George points coming right the fuck out. Anyways, Rose shows Marvin that she found a spoon after this. Look, Reese Witherspoon is already mid enough. We don't need to see Rose with a spoon. Jeffy says he will use the aforementioned spoon to eat the booger's shit and throw up, which is, you guessed it, another dose of gross out. Not only that, but it reminds me of those false allegations of Super Mario Hero being a poop eater. By the way, guys, please stop calling Super Mario Hero a poop eater. Those claims are indeed false, and they're really hurting his mental health, so please be considerate. We now hear Rose announcing that the news is on. Cody does it much better, but that's besides the point. Goodman announces that the whole world is now completely made of paper, followed by a live feed of Dr. Finkelshitz explaining why it happened. We cut back to Marvin once again telling his two pet retards that everything needs to go back to normal. Rose responds by saying that she likes being a paper, since she feels thin. Yeah, of course you would say that, ho. I would want to be thin too if I was a huge-ass bitch like that. And nah, you ain't thin. Even as a paper, you still chonky. Yo ass huge. Still mid as fuck too, but we already knew that. Damn, I will not be putting my pencil in that paper, that's for damn sure. But I digress. Marvin and Jeffy decide to go to Target to buy another wand since they can't find the other one. Marvin is now on the road and gets pulled over for running a red light by Officer Brooklyn Guy, who's still a boat because potatoes. He decides to simply give him a warning and doesn't pursue any legal action, so luckily there's no Marvin torture in this case. Marvin and Jeffy shortly arrive at Target, where Jeffy hops in the shopping cart and tells Marvin to push his ass around like he's fucking 5 years old. By the way, this is a 21-year-old man. Logan, I've told you numerous times to use character development, but you always refuse the damn thought. 13 George points deducted. Marvin asks Brooklyn Guy where the wands are at, and we get some more silliness. Brooklyn Guy says there's only one left, but it turns out an old lady has it. So Marvin does what any reasonable person would do, and fucking snatches that shit. Marvin returns home to his bitch wife, and announces that he will now turn everything back to normal, when suddenly, an evil, sentient, anthropomorphic paper shredder of all things appears out of nowhere. But Marvin still manages to finally turn everything back, much to Rose's disappointment, since as soon as this happens, Rose says,
"Aw man, I'm not thin anymore, I'm thick!"
By the way, Rose, there's a difference between thick and fucking fat as hell. Thick bitches actually got some curves on them and shit, all that cake. You ain't got none, it's just all fat. Everywhere. Just straight up lard and fucking cellulite. Marvin then says she has a barrel body, and that she's built like a brick shithouse. This is extremely accurate, so that'll give us an additional 21 George points. This makes Rose really offended, so she responds by saying Marvin looks like a pedophile. This bitch Rose has the fucking audacity to say Marvin looks like a pedophile just because he said the fucking truth about her, when anyone with a pair of functioning goddamn human eyes would know that Marvin looks way better than this absolute mid. What the fuck? I'm taking those 21 George points right the fuck back. Marvin responds by saying he looks like Dr. Phil and asks her if he looks like a pedophile. Rose says a little bit, which will lead me to dock 14 more George points since Rose said years ago that Dr. Phil was hot.
But I am not bald, I have hair!
Marvin, sometimes at night I pretend you're Dr. Phil so I can get off.
I look like Dr. Phil! Does he look like a little bit?
Jesus, tap dancing Christ, this fucking bitch can never make up her damn mind. I swear. Marvin tells Rose she could lose a few pounds, which leads to Rose saying Marvin's weenus could grow a few more inches. 8 more George points removed for this, since Rose does not need to be body shaming like this. Like, did anyone ever tell her it's not the size of the ship that matters, it's the motion of the ocean? Whatever. So Marvin tells Jeffy to use the wand to make her skinny, which is fucking valid. So, waiter, give us a plate of 12 George points, because Rose does really need to lose some damn weight. Unfortunately, Jeffy can't use his wand to make Rose skinny, because he is apparently still a paper. After Marvin and Tubby McLardass see that Jeffy's a paper, we see that the damn talking paper shredder is still there, since he wants to eat Jeffy. Officer Brooklyn Guy is at the door again, who is folded up. He soon gets unfolded and then shoots the paper shredder, who thinks Brooklyn Guy shot him because he was black, which makes the rest of this video go into some not so subtle commentary. Marvin and Rose are also confused about why he would shoot him. I mean, it makes sense for Marvin to react like this. But Rose, at one point you were also a cop, and you tased a black man. And I know what you're all saying in the comments. George, she didn't mean to do that. It was an accident. That shit was not an accident. Clearly on fucking purpose, dog. So there's 11 more George points down the drain for even more of Rose's hypocrisy. Brooklyn Guy eventually has a meeting with Chief about this, and... Wait, why is the police station just inside the void? Whatever. It's nothing too major. I won't remove any George points for that. Let me stop nitpicking. Anyways, Brookie is now suspended for 2 weeks with pay, which everyone thinks is the worst, most diabolical, gut-wrenching punishment ever. Again, not so subtle commentary. Look, Logan, I do agree with the message that all these cops who kill unarmed black men should receive worse punishments. But this feels like you're just trying to suck up to all of us on the left. This is the same channel that constantly says trans women shouldn't be in women's sports, is always gay bashing, claims there's only 2 genders. The list goes on and on. So I really don't know if Logan's actually being legit with pushing this message. We eventually find out that Jeffy wasn't actually paper, and he was just being a little shit like usual. So here goes 6 George points, since that means my boy Brookie now looks like a racist for shooting that unarmed black paper shredder. All for nothing. Deep breaths, George. Deep breaths. Shortly after, we see the SML question, which is, what is your favorite Marvin video game of all time? I'd have to say Odyssey, since that's the game that got Pauline back into the spotlight. Oh, she is so bad. I'd also have to say Super Mario Bros. 2, since that game introduced Birdo, who is also one of my faves. But now we're going to get to my thoughts on this video. Holy lollipop tits, this video was shit. A lot of it was weird Nintendo animation. There was so much gross out that I genuinely almost threw up. And not to mention Jeffy and Rose were super fucking annoying. Especially Rose, since she called Marvin a pedophile and insulted his dick size just because he said the truth about how fucking obese she is. Ugh, she is such a fucking hypocrite. Rose, please lose some damn weight. Then maybe you won't be such a horrible character. This video sucked. I'm gonna go jack my shit to Sabrina Carpenter. This is George, saying take care. Warp bleep bloop beep boop.